Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Josh.
And I would do anything for love. But I won't do that.
We're never going to hear your name again, are we?
Ever.
Ever. Okay. This is our weekly pull list review show where we talk about stuff we read this week. Interestingly, this is a short week for us. We've had a lot of very busy weeks. This week is not one. In fact, our week was so short, we had so few titles that we added a new one. I wanted to add this title either way. I've been really looking forward to this. So here's what we have this week. We have Power Man and Iron Fist #1, which is the new title, obviously, because it's #1. We have I Hate Fairyland #5. And we have Archie #6. We also, we went and saw Deadpool.
In IMAX. Because I'm a fucking baller.
In IMAX. And where we are at, we actually have the second largest IMAX theater in North America.
Yeah.
Which is where we saw it.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. The movie was good.
So, the comic nerd criticisms of it so far has been like the origin story was a little meh. And the fate of the girl is clearly not what would happen in any Deadpool story ever.
Right. I was waiting for her to eat it. She's going to die and, it's not going to go as planned.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll kill her in 2.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe. But that aside, I think we decided that they told a good story, so it didn't really matter. And nothing was, really absurd or cartoonish. It wasn't like Catwoman being bitten by radioactive cats and becoming a Catwoman.
Right. Right. I think they did a good job of taking like a lot of the different stuff that people like with Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
They took like the Joe Kelly stuff. They took the early Fabian Nicicia stuff. They even took, I felt like they took a good piece of the Rick Remender Uncanny X-Force Deadpool where he's really kind of a badass and he a bit damaged,
Yeah.
And Punisher Max or not Punisher Max, Deadpool Max, kind of the same thing. I know Deadpool Max actually gets a lot of shit for just being, so extreme, like triple extreme, but I actually liked that series. I thought it was pretty good. And I think they pulled some from that too to really round the character out. I like the movie a lot. It's no surprise everybody likes the movie, but
sure. And Deadpool's not that really. He's not a deep character, by a lot of measure. So I think it was kind of a testament to the creative team that they were able to pull out, these elements of, different writers and stuff of this very I'm not gonna call him one-dimensional. That's a bit too far, but there's not much to him,
Right. Most of the time he's used as satire and comedy relief. So
right. I didn't feel like the fourth wall breaking was over the top, which was a good thing because
I thought they did it just right, like just enough to really get the point that this is a major part of the character. This is a big part of what Deadpool is that fourth wall breaking allows him to comment and not him. Like really what we're not getting his comment. We're getting the writer's comment on the movie, right? He's just the conduit. And that's the way it always works in the comics. It's the writer's chance to satire other comics and what's going on. So I like that they took that and they put it into the film and said, all right, well, we'll do Deadpool and it'll be half serious and half satire.
Yeah.
It works well. It's a good way to get around it so you're not doing like a Wayans Brothers superhero movie. You know what I mean? You can make fun of superhero movies without it being just a
parody,
just a goofy parody. You can comment on it and still tell a good story that way.
Sure. Not to mention the casting was perfect. Like I can't imagine anybody other than Ryan Reynolds, like in the history of acting, playing that character as well as he did.
Yeah, he did great. I keep hearing him even on NPR. They loved the film and they were comparing him to Robert Downey Jr. and saying that he's now the new Robert Downey Jr. He's going to be a huge A-list star again, and they get to do whatever the hell he wants. So.
I can see that. I've also heard him say that he just wants to play Deadpool forever. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
It's such a great character, and it's perfect for him. He's been working towards that character. He had all those old
Van Wilder and shit.
Yeah, the Van Wilder movies were very kind of Deadpool-ish in a way.
I would believe that Deadpool used to be Van Wilder. Like,
right?
That was pre his origin story, actually.
Right, that's it. That was his Deadpool, the college years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been working that way, and then he worked into the superhero Hal Jordan, which can be seen as kind of a funny, quirky superhero guy, and worked his way there, and now he's where he should be, I think. Helicarrier, do you think that that's intentional? Like, are they trying to get at this fact that Fox or Sony or whoever is kind of working with the Marvel people a little more? Did you see, you know what I mean? Because that's where they were at. It was one of the crashed helicarriers from the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's going to be in...
Yeah, I know, I mean, as far as, like, big continuity and, like, universe building and stuff, like, that's always been Marvel shit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was very subtle in this, and I appreciated that. But, yeah, I'm positive that it's going to tie in at some point.
Yeah, Deadpool would fit so well with the Marvel stuff, and it'd be great to see, and then he could bridge that gap between the X-Men. Because in the Marvel comics, right, like, aside from Wolverine, really, the Avengers and the X-Men are always, like...
Yeah, they don't really...
They exist in the same world, but they kind of don't. Like, the continuity's real funky, right? So they can kind of pull this same thing and use Spider-Man and Deadpool to bridge that gap a little bit, I think.
Yeah, so do you think we're going to see a Spider-Man Deadpool movie?
Oh, man. They're both owned by the right people. Mm-hmm. It would be fantastic.
There's
Spider-Man,
a comic out
Deadpool.
right now.
Right.
Yeah, so
it'd be fantastic.
And they put big name writers on it, so I mean, I could definitely see that in the future. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Now let's talk about some comics.
Let's go ahead and talk about these. So let's start off with Power Man and Iron Fist #1, Walker Green and Luridge. Luridge, we've seen him coloring a bunch of stuff lately. He's done a lot of the stuff we're reading at Marvel.
Yes.
He's doing The Vision. He was coloring Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. So he's one of like the 7 people on Doctor Strange.
Right, so we've seen him quite a bit. I've been waiting for this for a while. I've always loved both of these characters. I really got into Luke Cage during Bendis's New Avengers, like right after the Heroic Saga thing or the whatever that was. And it was really a book about Luke Cage becoming domesticated and trying to become a leader, and Jessica Jones having the kid, and it was them transitioning from who they are, like on the Jessica Jones, the show, or Alias, either one of those, them transitioning from those people into like responsible adults.
Right.
And so
we see some of that here.
And so now we see even like further, like the real domestication of Luke Cage. So what did you think of this book?
I liked it quite a bit.
I did too.
The scene where like the baby's cursing and like she's like giving him shit about it. I love that. My other favorite, I guess, kind of like surface level thing about this was how into being Iron Fist he is. Like he's totally all about it. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're walking around and Luke Cage is just dressing like a normal person, and he's got his like Iron Fist shit on like, constantly.
Right. Yeah, so it's very much in the vein of the Ant-Man, Scott Lang and his obsession with his outfit. Yeah.
It's so cool. I just want to wear it all the time.
I'm freaking Iron Fist, man. You know?
Right. How cool is that?
Yeah, I really like their Danny Rand. I really like this Luke Cage. I like that these characters are moving forward. Luke Cage is changing. Danny Rand is still Danny Rand, you know. Maybe even more happy-go-lucky than he's been in the past. He seems to be in a pretty good place. Yeah. But also, I really like the art here. It really reminds me of a lot of the things we've been liking with some of the other publishers, like Archie. We're going to be talking about Archie. It reminds me of what's going on in Archie, that style.
Like the new style?
Yeah, the Veronica Fish, which we're going to be getting to here in a minute.
Sure.
And also Batgirl. It reminds me of Batgirl in a weird way, in that it's blocky and cartoony, slightly exaggerated in the features, but really great in terms of body language, and a lot of the framing of everything is just to really give you as much information about their personality as he can put onto the page. It's less about getting like perfect proportions and more about really cartooning how these characters move through the world and interact with each other.
Yeah, on the subject of line work too, some of the shading kind of reminds me of Doctor Strange a little bit.
Yeah,
just because it's very like they're not afraid to have very dense lines being some of the shading, you know, and there is like, you know, decent amount of cross hatching and stuff in there. So
yeah, and it's got a little bit of a sketchy quality to it, which I love it when the art team isn't afraid to be people drawing a comic book, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. I feel like somebody just like sketched this out and then like gave it to the inker and then the colorist and like, Right. And you do get that feel from it. And at first glance, you could think like, oh, it seems a little bit lazy. But then you go and look at like a real lazy book. Like I'd love to compare this to Ringside. Yeah.
Right? Where you actually see what lazy cartooning and drawing looks like. And then you realize like they put a lot of work into this. This is good art. But it just isn't trying to hide itself. You can see the line work. You can see the sketched out, like, here's his head. Like, here's his forehead wrinkles where you just throw the lines in. And
I really think super clean artwork is almost seen as like old school now, because even like the really impressive stuff we get, like that second Scarlet Witch, like the texture of the paper that it was made on and like the brush strokes and stuff like that, they add that dimension of creatorness. That's a word.
That's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
Yeah,
and I think we're again just seeing like more and more of that in comics, and I think it's cool.
I do too.
It's kind of getting to the point where I see it like that. Like if I see something that's just super clean, it's like, well, that's fucking cliche. Like,
right?
Can't you just like fuck it up a little bit?
Yeah, play around with it. Put your personality into it. Right? It's kind of the difference between like a new high profile album that might come out by a really high end producer who has all the money and time to just produce out all of the interesting stuff, right? Versus maybe a young
first
upstart
Bright Eyes album.
Right, where you get a lot of the personality of the creator. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's cool. Fresh and moves. The panel work is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it got like a 70% interesting, I think, at one point, but other than that, it's just pretty standard. Yeah,
and I think it fits. I think it's fitting for the title to keep it pretty straightforward in terms of paneling. Especially with, again, how kind of loose and sketchy some of the work is. I really like this book. It's another win from Marvel. We've had a few losers, but overall, this whole all different Marvel thing's working out pretty well so far. If you just
as far as what we
stick to, you know,
the B-list shit.
The B-list. You know, stay away from X-Men and Iron,
West Coast Avengers, whatever the fuck they're putting out.
I Hate Fairyland #5. This is Scotty Young and Jean-François Ballon.
The key is found.
It is.
Yeah, and Gertrude and Happy have a battle as well.
Yeah. Okay. I love that Gertrude just flies through the bad guy trials.
Yeah.
Right?
She's even meaner and bossier progressively.
20-some years of attempting to do Fairyland trials of make friends with the orcs and return the thing to the time people and like all these nice shit like she can't do, but you know,
you tell her to murder somebody and she's just bang.
Yeah, bang, I'm on it, right? Like she just hammers right through all of his trials in no time flat, and that's great. It's hilarious.
Which on the opposite side, Happy. It just flies through the Fairyland shit, you know.
Right, just a normal sweet little kid that you know is supposed to be here, really.
So we kind of have like a yin and yang situation there going, where one of them's just really good at murdering people and terrible at riddles, and the other one's a sweet little girl who, of course, she's good at riddles.
Right. The artwork on this still on point. I think, honestly, I didn't find this issue as clever as I found a few of the others. I mean, it was still great.
It's a wrap up of the first arc,
right?
You know, it feels that way.
Yeah, yeah. So
a couple clever things though that I did notice is first, our narrator doesn't die until way later in this one.
Right.
So it had been getting earlier and earlier and earlier.
Right.
And we get to
because
almost like the middle of the book before he dies this time.
Well, the interesting thing here is the narrator is narrating for Happy.
Yeah.
As soon as Gertrude shows up, murders the narrator. Like
murder.
Yeah, done. So we kind of continue to get that with her, where as soon as
she shows up,
he's done. Like she just ain't having some dude standing over his shoulder narrating the whole thing.
Right. And also the twist at the end. That was good.
Yeah, there is a big twist at the end. It's great. I wasn't sure where it was going, so it actually surprised me. I didn't know what she was planning to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it was going to wrap up, if it was just
So maybe it was it's just gonna end, and it's like, well, shit, that was good.
Yeah, or maybe there was going to be a new protagonist or something. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Or she was, some other problem was going to arise with the door. But it was clever. I liked it.
Yeah. So, and I think the setup is such that the next arc of this could be like so much different. Like incredibly different. Like almost. I mean, it'll probably feel like the same book. But as far as plot and stuff, we're gonna have a completely new status quo for things.
Yeah.
So, I think that was a really smart move on his part, because last time we were talking about it, I thought I was going to get bored this week with her just murdering some people, but they managed to pull it out at the last second, and then here we are at the end of the arc, and he's like, well, fuck everything that's just happened, we have this new thing that's going to completely change everything.
Right, it's no longer the plot.
Right.
The plot is now going to be something else entirely, not just superficially, but on a real basic level.
Yeah.
Very ballsy, but then you read, did you read the
thing in the back?
Thing that he wrote in the back about it, where this was kind of the end of the story that he had, and now he wants to keep telling more, so...
Listen, in previous issues, we've discussed comics, your money, my kids, and the food they need to survive. Don't make me go over it again.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's really just setting it up so he can tell new, interesting, and funny stories, and I think that takes some real balls on one side, but then again, what else is he going to do? This is a huge hit, so of course he's going to... come up with more things to do. What else? Yeah,
but I can tell by the sincerity of the twist at the end that it's something that he wants to do.
Right.
And he's put a lot of thought into, well, I could do this, but it would be better if I did this.
Right.
So I commend him for not being well, okay, I'll just keep fucking writing the same shit. And
right, yeah.
People are buying it, so I'm doing something right.
Well, yeah, that's the great thing, is he could have just kept doing the same thing, just have her, monster of the week.
Yeah.
Fluffy thing of the week, basically, and go after it. And that's not what he's doing. He's really going out on a limb and continuing to tell a real story.
I like that variant.
Yeah, it's good. All right, last one. Again, this is a short week. This is Archie, number 6, from Archie Comics, Mark Waid and Veronica Fish. This is issue not number 2, but this is the second issue in a row that Veronica Fish has been doing. I don't... know how long she's going to be on this, but so far so good. What's the story here?
He gets hit in the head with a softball, and he gets a concussion, and then some information falls into some unfortunate hands.
Yeah. So I feel like in some ways the overarching narrative or plot here is falling off a little bit. I'm not as enthralled with it in some ways, but it's still pretty damn good to me. I get one of the big things is I'm still getting a lot of good laughs out of it,
I think this issue did a pretty good job universe building. Because I didn't really know a lot about Ronnie's dad, at all. I mean, we haven't really had words from him, I think, thus far. And what's the bad guy's name? Or the
Reggie.
You're
talking about Reggie Mantle?
Yeah, we've gotten a little bit of him, but not really a good section where we see his motivations and dialogue with other characters and stuff. So yeah, I think this is a step away from up till now we've had a very Archie-centric kind of story, which this is, but there's a good digression into some uncharted areas that we haven't explored yet.
Right. So. They're really trying to build an ensemble cast here, which just takes footwork. You're right.
Yeah.
And there's also Sayir. They bring in Sayir.
Yeah.
Who seems like he'll be a pretty good character to add in here, a kind of a foil for Archie with Betty. So that's cool. And man, I still love Veronica Fish's work in here. I really like the art. I think Fiona Staples started this, and I loved what she was doing. Veronica Fish has taken over, and it's a little different. It's not It's not Staples, which is cool. I like that it has its own vibe, but it still does a really great job of telling the story in a fun way. You know, it's really fun to look at.
A lot of the things that we liked about Staples, you know, just showing movement. I especially like little bits of detail she puts in, like when the coach is yelling and like the little bits of spit coming out of his mouth. And it's not an overly detailed style, but just little things like that, I think really add a lot.
There's this really fun balance between just being kind of silly and over the top cartoony and more of the grounded modern comic book style. It's this really cool mix. Like
it's almost a little bit more to the cool side than Batgirl. Like Batgirl, and then just because she has a cape, really. I mean,
and it's kind of, it goes both sides of where Batgirl's at. Batgirl rides the line, and this like takes both sides of it and just smashes them together and says, deal with it, right? So you get a slightly more realistic and grounded look, but then say he gets hit on the back of the head and he's got a giant bump, like a huge bump, and like swirly birds over, you know, so and googly eyes, so you get this interesting mix of the two that it's weird that it works as well as it does.
Well, it is Mark Waid and Veronica Fish.
Right, yeah. So I guess it's not that weird.
And it's really not. I'd expect it to be good.
I still feel like I'm getting charged for, 10 pages that I really would rather not get charged for.
Yeah, the old school Archie shit on the... Why do they keep putting this in here?
I don't know. I guess it pads it out and makes it feel like you're getting more for your money, but I'd rather they just charge me $1 less and leave that out.
Maybe they're trying to sell old trades or something.
Could be. I mean, people, it's not like people don't love the old Archie stuff. There's tons of people out there that love it.
There are people that do, but I mean, I wouldn't even recommend it to your typical fan of this book. Like if I gave this to somebody and they liked it, I wouldn't say, "Oh, you should check out old Archie then."
Right. Right. No, I would tell them to read something else like, Batgirl or something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't push
30
them.
other things that would come to mind first.
Yeah, there's tons of modern things with the more modern audience in mind. Yeah.
A decent quality of the book too, though. So it's cool. Cover's nice and thick.
Yeah, it is. They've done a really nice job of making it very presentable. Now, if they could just get it in front of more people, I think
that's the main thing. And it's one of those things where like the name is working for them and against them at the same time. Like they're gonna get the old school readers, but as far as like attracting new people, like
right. Really, we have all of the big comic fans, people that recognize Mark Waid and are willing to give a book a chance outside of what's on the title, like you and me and other people that are really into the medium. But your average guy that goes to the comic shop once every couple months and buys the back issues of Justice League, there's no freaking way they're going to buy this, right?
Yeah, crossover with Daredevil.
Yeah. They should put him in like Spider-Man or something.
Yeah, there you go.
It would totally work. They do all sorts of crazy shit with Archie. They got Archie versus Predator. And
Afterlife.
Afterlife with Archie. And that stuff's all pretty cool.
I haven't read any of it.
It's pretty good stuff. So you never know. They should cross with Valiant.
Yeah.
Do some Valiant stuff. Bloodshot.
Bloodshot shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great.
He has to get some nanites back from somebody at Riverdale.
Jughead gets some nanites in him because he ate like a nanite burger or something.
Yeah, he's got to hug him.
Yeah, hug it out with Jughead. Jughead's totally not into hugging the weird old dude, so he's like trying to avoid it.
I'd rather be pale, dude. Just chill.
No, but yeah, it's... Why don't they... Archie Comics has like all these inroads, right? With like Kroger and all these places. I'm surprised we haven't seen this sitting like next to People magazine. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
Yeah, it surprises me. You'd think that they could sell like boatloads of this if they just put it in the aisles of the grocery store.
One of our 80-something subscribers owns a grocery store.
Yeah. Ask or something. I don't know. What are we getting at here? Just idle observation.
Yeah.
That's what else do we do, right?
That's kind of the name of the game.
It is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. We do this every Wednesday, Thursday, You guys see it Thursday usually, or Friday.
Yeah, you'll see this one Friday.
If we got shit going on, then Friday. But
yeah.
Normally every Thursday we have one of these come out where we just talk about what was on our list for the week. If you go to our Tumblr a little while ago, you can actually see what was on our list of like a month ago. It changes from time to time. We'll update it at the end of this month. But if you're just curious, like what other things we read, because this was kind of a light week, go check that out.
Monday we're doing Sandman.
Sandman. We're going to talk about Sandman Volume 1, which will be interesting. I think we might have to, after we do Sandman Volume 1, revisit and talk about a couple of the follow-ups, because it does change in tone quite a bit after Volume 1, but it will be interesting to talk about Volume 1 anyway.
Yes.
It's quite good. One of the best things you can get. It's right up there with all of my other favorite all-time DC Vertigo stuff, like Animal Man and The Question,
Sure.
Doom Patrol, all these really awesome old-school, DC stuff that we know and love, and even like Frank Miller's Dark Knight and all that kind of shit. I think it.
And let's not forget the Watchmen.
Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's right up there with all that. Maybe the cream of some of that crop even. So
Bold statement.
we will talk about that. What else do we got in the plate in weeks to come? We got another monthly review that'll be out a couple Mondays down the line.
We're gonna be. We've been reading Jupiter's Circle, and we're gonna talk about Jupiter's Legacy, Ex Machina. So not the current, but the former, and Nameless.
Nameless, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Facebook, Twitter.